Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good day wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the next episode of No Dice, No Glory. Sponsored by our jobs that actually pay us money, we're coming to you not at all live from an abandoned arms factory deep under a mountain in West Virginia. We are proud to proffer to you the finest in wargaming coverage. Without any further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tales of the Sail, episode 36. Spring has sprung. It's been a while, but Glenn and I have been busy, and we are joined by somebody who has had far more hobby time than us. So we'll go around the horn and let people know that you have Tom Chairborne Mullane joining you. We have Glenn, the gentleman farmer Van Meter.
What's up, everybody?
And we are joined by Garret Swader.
Hello.
Garret is a veteran, we can say that now, of Adepticon. And he's going to brief us on the whole scenario of stuff that went on. We'll give you a quick rundown. We expect this will be a relatively short episode because both Glenn and I have not had all the time to do hobby stuff we might like to. So I'll start off with my update, which is... this is the last year I will be running Model United Nations for the high school I work. I will have done it for 14 years. And they did their last trip to Cornell, where I got to hike through a gorge and yell at some private school people because they were being rude. So I won't miss that part of it, but I'll miss the fun the kids get to have at these kind of conferences. I had my 40th birthday party. I cooked barbecue for 24 people.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
It went really well. I cooked a 10-hour North Carolina-style pulled pork, and I cooked 4-hour baby back ribs with a mixture of I did the full rub, the dry rub on it. I let it rest a bunch of times in between. I was impressed. It was difficult because I did have to get up at 3 a.m. to pull it off by 2 p.m., but I was surprised by the results. I didn't expect them to turn out that well the first time through. So good for me. I've been trying to use Dexter Hyde's tutorials to build houses. They don't look as cool as his, but they're functional. And other than that, Glenn and I have been planning and scheming for Historicon, which we'll talk about a bit later. So Glenn, tell us what you have been up to over our long break.
Oh, good Lord. In the few instances I get hobby time, I've been still trying to get the starter set and other new models built. I've been spending a lot of time in the job market because I got a contract, but it's not a very long one. And I like having, employment. Beyond that, on the farm, it's spring, so lambing season is technically over, but we've got the most sheep we've ever had on the farm running around, getting themselves lost or what have you, and having to go out and look for them. And then, yeah, aside from that, working with Tom, planning Historicon stuff. And my buddies and I don't know if I've told Tom about this, my buddies and I have discovered something, armored combat kind of thing. Imagine like WWE, except everybody's wearing full plate armor, male, and has steel weapons, and they're just wailing on each other, and they're in a 12x12 ring. That's what me and my buddies have been trying to do once every.
Like in person.
No, we get to go watch professionals because none of us have the several $1,000s it would take to get a set of gear.
Because I was about to say that life on your farm is even weirder than I thought it was.
No.
So I'm picturing this, because you have an electrified fence too. So I'm picturing you in armor, circling your friends with a mace.
No, but funny enough, they do use some farm gates like kind of stuck together as like the ring. And at one of the last ones, like one of the bigger fighters who's like a 350-pound like ex-Marine who's 6'6", I guess kind of think Rufus's build, but like stocky and tons of muscle. He fell into the thing and bent the gate in half. It just collapsed. And I was looking, I was like, I don't have a lot of expertise in metalworking, but I have seen this kind of stuff on a farm, and I'm going to go ahead and say that they need a new one.
Yeah, I think that they do. I love that this is a thing. I feel like there's a part of me that felt like we were slowly moving backwards into the Middle Ages, but I didn't know we were going to get there so fast.
I mean, it's just sport, right?
It's essentially like intense LARPing, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I
Yes, it
said,
is.
they have metal weapons and they are wailing on each other in
I
mail.
think I've seen
They-
YouTube videos of this before, and it's brutal.
I want to say it's like the Society for Armored Combat. There's it like every sports group. There's several different groups that do it, but yeah, it's pretty intense.
You're actually reminding me. I need to use metal polish on my my gauntlets, my armor, because it's starting to rust. Because I didn't realize that's something that happens. My conquistador armor. I'm glad that this is happening now before I get the full like cuirass and the greaves. But yeah, someday maybe I'll compete in the game of armored combat, and
Yeah, I
your
don't know if
friends can watch me bend a gate over as I fall on top of it.
Be sure and get a video of that.
Which brings us to the man of the hour, Garret Swader. Garret, why don't you tell us what you've been up to over the past couple weeks?
The past couple of weeks, I am going to be going to St. Augustine, Florida for the History Festival they're having down there. That's next week.
Have you been
I
to St. Augustine before, or is this your
I
first time?
have I have many times actually. I like the place a lot. This will be the second time they've had the History Festival. This is the first time that I've went to that specifically. Um, but going to Adepticon, I met one of the guys. I'm on Discord a lot, so if you recognize my name, you've probably been on Discord and seen me banter back and forth with about who's better, Spanish or English. But Jake F on Discord and I are going to be playing an outdoor game in St. Augustine, which will be fun. I just bought card tables for that today. So
And this is happening the 11th through the 14th?
yes.
Okay.
Also going to be scouting some spots. I think I told Glenn about this. If we want to do a destination tournament again, St. Augustine would be a fantastic location. And I was talking to some of the people that run Parks and Rec down there, and they have a few outdoor parks that have access to bathrooms and such that might be a good place to do an outdoor tournament sometime.
Cool. I'd totally be down
Yeah.
for that. Yeah, Glenn and I had talked about this before, and yeah, we're looking for other spots that would be just fun destinations to go to because the one we held went really well. We got a good turnout. We had a good time. The museum was really accommodating. We thought, um, yeah. So keep an eye out for us. Take some pictures. But if there's outdoor spots, we can chill out in Florida and have a fun little vacation at a pirate village. That'd be pretty darned awesome.
The spot that I'm looking for, or the St. Augustine city people told me about, was right next to the Lighthouse Museum.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that one out. Take some pictures, and I'll send it to you guys.
Cool.
But yeah, planning the next destination tournament is one of my New Year's resolutions for this year. So
There you go.
That's
Helping
true.
you out.
Yeah, you're helping them out.
we'll probably, when is the history festival?
It is next week. It starts May. I think the first event is May 10th, but there's only one event on May 10th. Colleen and I are going to be traveling uh, on the 11th and getting there and staying till Sunday.
Nice. Yeah, so I'd probably have to plan that for next year, but
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd be doing it during the history festival or just going for some other
You could
time.
probably contact the lighthouse And if you wanted to plan it for next year's History Festival, that would probably I mean, I don't know, what they would say, but I would imagine they would jump at that.
As long as we plan far enough ahead, I imagine they'd be down for it.
Yeah.
If it happens in mid-May, it's it's probably going to be a hard no. Just because it's AP week and I teach advanced prep classes, so they always have their tests this week and next week. So if it's like late May, like Memorial Day weekend, like I'm down, good to go. But if it's early in the month, then I usually get hosed. It's like one of the few things that I'm stuck. There's no way out.
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
The good thing about this park that I was talking about is it's going to be free. Like it's just a public park. So it would really cut down on the cost of anybody wanting to attend the tournament. Basically, all your entry fee is going to cover is maybe food and
Yeah.
prize sport. So
And we
Yeah,
could get a block at a hotel depending on how many people we get. But
right.
yeah,
keep
down
an
for
eye
that.
out for pavilions that like we can just put our names down for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, prepping for Summer of Plunder. I am the Spanish commander this year. Just wrote my first little blurb for the kickoff article today. Kind of a rough draft, but yeah, trying to get prizes and everything ready for that and figuring all that out. So that's fun.
Well, expect a lot of Spanish submissions from me because I've got my Spaniards painted up and ready to go.
We're gonna win this year. We are absolutely gonna win this year. We've been so close the last 2 years. It's got to happen.
Yeah, we were close, and we're gonna put it over the top this time. And no Dutch pirate is gonna stop us.
Absolutely not.
I don't know. We've got legit Dutch leading the Dutch faction this year.
Yeah, we really do. Yeah, I don't know. He knows all the correct pronunciations of the units.
It's true.
I mean, that's a step ahead of you and me.
He even knows which ports are most valuable. That's Martin de Cruyff for anybody wondering.
Yeah,
Right. He's going to be the Dutch commander.
Commanding from Holland, which is pretty awesome. Honestly.
That is pretty cool.
Really cool. I'm totally just going to show up at poor Martin's house at some point because, like, my goal over the next 5 years is to plan a trip to Europe with students, so I get it covered. But we're going to probably do the like Band of Brothers style tour where we follow the route that they took. I'm just looking for different tour companies and comparing prices. Trying to keep it under a certain amount of money so that it's doable for a lot of kids. But if I get to go to Holland, I plan on, walking around Arnhem and the Groesbeck Heights and all this other stuff. I'm going to make the most of it. And he told me I have an open invitation if I'm in Holland. So I'm definitely going to just randomly show up at his door at one point. I'll probably call first, but just so you're prepared, Martin, it might happen. So Garret, you got to go to Adepticon.
Yes.
And you've never been before, correct?
Never been before.
So tell us what you expected before you got there, what you were hoping to do, other than running the events. Like, what did you expect walking in?
I expected a lot of 40K, and I got that. A lot. I'm not a 40K person. I barely do anything miniature games wise outside of Blood and Plunder. So that was the majority of it. They had a lot of Star Wars stuff there too, like Legion and X-Wing and what's the other one? Armada.
Armada, yeah.
Armada. They had.
You are an X-Wing player, right?
I am an X-Wing player. So I did go over there and give those guys the stink eye once or twice, but other than that, no, I didn't play any X-Wing while I was there. It was funny. I contacted Jason Klotz because we went and did NashCon together in 2022. And I contacted him and I was like, "Hey, are you doing NashCon again in 2023?" And he said, "No. Do you want to go to Adepticon with me?" And I was like, "Well, sure." what logistically what's that going to look like? And so we got that together, and then that just kind of grew into me, him, and Joseph Forster got a room together, and we were running all of the Adepticon Blood and Plunder stuff.
I was really psyched when I got a chance to meet Joe Forster, like in person, because we've talked to him so many times. We've seen his blog so much. When we finally got him to come out all the way to the East Coast for one of these big cons for HMGS, it was just awesome just getting a beer with him. So I'm sure I know he's good. I know he's good company.
He's a great guy. Yep.
And Klotz is no slouch either. I need to hang out with him so I can get more of a feel for Oak and Iron, because he's.
You need to ride in a car with Jason for 4 hours. That will it will enlighten you. We got a lot of stuff hashed out for next year on that car ride back to his house.
Cool.
I'm glad you had a better experience than driving back to my house. For those who don't know,
well, it was almost just as fun because we were so involved with talking to each other at one point in the middle of nowhere in parts unknown Illinois, that we realized that we were about to run out of gas. and we were frantically trying to Google where the next gas station was, and a couple seconds after that, we were turning around in the median, going back, because it turns out turning around was closer than going forward. So that was entertaining as well. But we made it. We did not have to walk anywhere, push his van. But yeah, I'm located northwest Georgia, right around Chattanooga. So it was 4 hours for me to drive to his house, and then another about 6 hours up to Chicago.
It's not that bad, actually.
It's not. I did it in 2 days. I drove to his house. I stayed at his house, and then we both got up that drove another 6 hours. So yeah, it was not bad at all.
So he was your roommate. Did you run everything together?
Yes, basically.
So tell us about the tournaments you ran and your whole experience generally.
It was exhausting, but a lot of fun. So we ran one tournament each for Blood and Plunder and Oak and Iron. Rufus did a Blood and Valor tournament, but we were not involved with that at all. We let him handle that, and as far as I know, that went off without a hitch. And then we did 2 each narrative games for Blood and Plunder and Oak and Iron.
Good Lord.
So we had a lot of stuff going on every day, because in between all of that, we were running demos like constantly.
So you were working the whole time.
Really? It was a workout. It was the first time I've ever done anything like that, and it was exhausting. And I and Joseph all said we're cutting back next year, because for 3 of us that was like way too much.
Overall, how did the tournaments go? Like, what was your attendance like? What kind of lists did you see?
Attendance was really good. For Blood and Plunder specifically, I think we had over 20 people. I should have looked up beforehand exactly how many we had, but if you go to Joseph's website, I'm sure it's got it listed there somewhere. But we saw a lot of swivels. We saw new ships and swivels, the new sloops, the new plastic sloops and swivels.
Cool.
Partly because they're easy to transport, I think, and everybody had them new and wanted to play with their new toys. And plus, I think swivels are above the power curve right now in Blood and Plunder as far as efficiency goes. I was playing Swivel Mania. I had 8 swivels on a sloop. We were building loaner lists for people, and I had another list that I almost played that I thought was going to do well, and I loaned that out to someone, and he wound up winning the tournament.
Nice.
So my list won the tournament, and he beat me in the last game.
That's got to feel pretty good, though.
It's bittersweet.
New player do that.
It's bittersweet, but I gave him a good fight. It was a good clean game, and he beat me fair and square. So
you mentioned your plan for next year is to cut back a bit. But what are some things you want to make sure you do next year that you really thought worked well?
definitely the tournament again. I think that can grow and get bigger. I think everybody had a great time with that. Yeah, I want it. I want that to be like the tournament of the year, like Blood and Plunder World Championship. The narrative games, I think what we might want to do is to cut it down some, or maybe do just like one oak and iron and one Blood and Plunder, but maybe have them connected in some way narratively.
That's a cool idea.
Like if you play in the oak and iron game on Friday, if certain things happen, then that affects what happens at the start of the Blood and Plunder game on Saturday, type thing. So that's sort of what Jason and I have been talking about, and we are possibly. I know. I said earlier he said he was not going to NashCon, but he has contacted me in the last couple of days and asked me, "Hey, do you want to go to NashCon?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I could probably give you a day to drive up there. It's only about 2 hours away from me." And we were thinking about doing a dry run for that at maybe NashCon.
I know it might be heresy, but another alternate idea for getting more stuff in would be seeing how many people you can get to help run stuff, because it doesn't have to be the same 3 guys running literally everything.
Oh no, yeah, that was another thing that we discussed heavily. Was we needed a few more people, and Josh Shivak, I hope I'm saying his last name right, he helped a lot, and that was the guy I was trying to think of.
Oh, I know Josh.
Before.
Josh is great.
Yeah, Josh is awesome. He helped out so much during that, running demos with us and everything. So
Well, he practically when was it last year's Adepticon that Tyler went? And
I think it
Josh-
was 2022. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was just him and Josh. Yeah,
Josh like single-handedly provided almost all the stuff.
Yeah.
Josh is awesome. Also, a big time Spanish player. Shout out.
One final thing we'll ask you about Adepticon is, so if there's somebody listening to this who's never been to one of their like these big major conventions, like what general advice would you give a first timer?
I know this is a good question for you, because I think Historicon was your first big one last year, and then you got to go to Adepticon this year. So you've done 2 in the last like 12 months.
I've done Fall In, I've done Gen Con once before, and I've done Adepticon now.
Oh, that's right, it was Fallen.
It was Fall In. Historicon's on my list. I do want to get back up there with you guys and do that, but that might not come until a couple years from now. But yeah, I would say the big thing is to plan. A lot of times these conventions will have event lists, and they will put them out early, and make yourself a plan of what you want to do and try to get it in as best you can. You're probably going to plan for too much. That's okay. It's a process.
Yeah, it's always easier to cut stuff out of the plan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Leave yourself time for lunch. Like I always forget to do that sometimes.
Definitely.
I also say, if there's a game that you're really interested in when you see it in the preliminary events listing, like get the ticket for that game, because odds are pretty good that somebody else is eyeing it and wanted it. And the last thing you would want would be to show up at the convention expecting to kind of jump around to whatever game you like, only to find that 3/4 of them aren't available. And
Exactly.
I would say that, given the rumblings we've heard about, like they're making second calls for games and stuff like that, they're finding some difficulty finding GMs for some things to run these kind of participation games. It's not a huge problem, but it means that you're noticing a decline in the number of available games, because it's a lot of work to put these things on, as any of the 3 of us can attest. So yeah, if you find something cool, grab it. And if you're somebody who's always wanted to run a game, try it out, because if you reach out, it only commits you to one brief period of the con, and the rest of the time you get to run around doing whatever it is you like.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. So speaking of future convention plans, Glenn and I are going to give kind of the lowdown on what's going to go down for Historicon. Garrett, are you coming to Historicon?
I am not this year. Like I
Not
said,
this
I
year, okay.
want to. I want to eventually, but my plate's pretty full this year, especially if I go to
Oh,
NashCon
no.
again.
Yeah, I think you've used up whatever hall passes you've got.
Yeah.
I think you're done.
Luckily, my wife plays about as many games as I do, so she's with me on a lot of them. She'll be with me next Adepticon probably.
Nice.
Adepticon's
'Cause
always in March, right?
Adepticon's always in March. Yes,
I think I'm going to try to do it next year.
it's a lot of fun.
I'll reach out well in advance if I'm going to be able to pull it off, because I know that you were one of the guys to talk to if I'm looking to get into playing some of these games.
Yep.
So yeah, and I'll bring terrain. I'll help out. I'll do it because I'll probably drive, because I like the drive as opposed to the flight. I don't know. Anybody who's ever flown out of New York area airports would generally rather drive a car.
Yeah, if I ever do Historicon again, I may just drive myself up there. Flying was not great.
No,
Carrying all my stuff and everything.
no, because of what you're doing when you get here, it's like I'd rather just have a big car that I can fit the stuff in.
Right.
Yeah, it's just easier logistically than it is. If I'm flying, I'm taking my minis and that's it, and I'm not running any games. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna
All right,
say
so
you could probably just come up here and I can loan you things, but that
that's
doesn't
true.
that eats into the loaners for anybody else that needs them.
Right.
Yeah. We want to be prepared. All right, so Historicon. As we record this in early May, if I do what I'm supposed to do and get this edited and out properly this month, there will be 2 months to go for signups. We'll start posting stuff pretty regularly. One thing I will comment on before we go through the whole list of plans is we don't have a trivia today, but what I think I'm going to start to do is I'm going to brainstorm some ideas with Glenn so we can pair some of our giveaways with like website advertisements and things like that. So we're going to start posting stuff more regularly on the Facebook page. We'll tie it into Summer of Plunder, and we'll try to give out a bunch of prizes to people that are submitting stuff for that. And I'm sure while they have tons of stuff to give away over at Blood and Pigment, Glenn and I have also tons of stuff to give away. So we'd like to just throw it on the pile and make sure people get some cool, fun stuff.
Yeah, I have quite the stockpile of prizes to give out, and unfortunately, we have been dealing with some issues with the website and stuff that's silenced us for a little while, and that pile has just gotten bigger. So, plenty to give away. We just need to figure out the best way to do it.
The longer we wait, the more stuff we give away at the same time. It's easy peasy. Mike gave us stuff to give away, and we fully intend to give it away as best we can. All right. Do you want to take over and talk about the Iron Man, or want me to lead with the Iron Man and we each talk about our respective tournaments we're in charge of?
I'll lead since you got the first one.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Iron Man, it's back again. If I'm understanding the rules that were sent to me correctly, you need to participate in at least one tournament and do at least one demo of Blood and Steel while at Historicon in order to qualify for the Iron Man prizes.
That is how I read it as well.
Okay. And considering that the gaming industry is full of rules lawyers, TOs and etc., that's probably going to be how it stands unless we get better clarification on what could have been some poor grammar.
Some errata.
Yeah. And we'll let you know if it does change. But as of right now, you just need to participate in one tournament and go get yourself a Blood and Steel demo at the Firelock booth. Then there will be additional prizes for most games played, top 4 games played, and best painted.
Which I really like because traditionally, like, we've gotten pretty good participation in these, like, comparable to what Garrett saw at Adepticon. I think Adepticon was a little bit bigger, but we usually, like, there's a few people that are playing that are excited to play, but they kind of know they've been knocked out of contention for like the Iron Man prize, which is like the person traditionally who had finished at the top or close to the top of as many of the Firelock themed games as they could. But this is
Which
giving
also
you,
traditionally was 3 tournaments minimum.
yeah, which is an enormous time sink. And so I like the way this is structured because you don't need to do as much to qualify to be a participant, but you'll still be rewarded if you want to be heavily involved. So they're going to give out multiple prizes for different ways of being involved. So I'm a fan of that. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and this way, if somebody does want to do like all 3 tournaments and demos, they're probably going to lock in that most games award.
All right. Blood and Plunder, Land Battles, Friday, 21st of July. And both of the tournaments that Glenn and I are running are happening on Friday. And then there's additional Firelock stuff that's happening on Saturday, which we'll likely be playing in or floating around for. But Glenn and I are heavily committed to Friday. Friday's our big day. So on Friday, the 21st, running from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. with 150 points, 3 75-minute rounds. Forces can be chosen from any released book. We will have loaner forces available, but we need some just advance notice so we can have those ready for you, and we don't give away stuff to just walk-ups. Because if you reserve stuff with us first, you get priority. If you don't, then it'll be first come, first serve situation. You're going to email us if you're interested in signing up to talesofthesale@gmail.com. Include a copy of your list for verification once you're ready. We'll send out reminders to anybody once they've signed up. But we're looking to get signups like ironed out by the beginning of July. We'll keep sending out reminders by the end of the month, again in January and June a couple times. But 150 points, 3 75-minute rounds, runs at 9 a.m. on Friday the 21st. And I'll be the GM for the land battles, which brings us to the afternoon. So go for it.
Another quick point. We will be putting out tournament packets again. We'll have those on site with us for anybody who didn't bring their copy, but you can we will have the tournament packets done and sent out ahead of time if you email us. If you don't email us, we don't know to send it to you. So email us, sign up. We need your list for verification at some point. And then we'll get you that tournament packet so you can kind of plan and know which missions you're going to be looking at and that kind of thing. So hopefully that'll help everybody there.
But there shouldn't be. I'll mention there shouldn't be any big surprises in the tournament packet. Like if there are certain missions that require, like tokens, for example, we provide them. So the only thing you need is a list, and the minis and your dice. That's it.
And we do try to choose the less biased missions. So it won't be like you're starting off as defender and the attacker has to take an objective. Like you'll have equal sides of the board.
But as Glenn said, if you email us in advance, then you'll know in advance.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the afternoon of Friday the 21st.
All right. Now, in an effort to squeeze everything in, this will be a Blood and Plunder Sea Battles Friday afternoon and evening. We're going to be doing 3 2-hour rounds. It'll be 200 points going from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. But we'll shorten up the rounds as we can. So, like, if everybody's done the first round after an hour and a half, then we'll just start the next round then. That way everybody can get out and go to a reasonable dinner time. Because Lancaster is still a semi-sleepy town.
It is.
It's a wonderful town, but it is a little sleepy.
If we do go super late, I'm perfectly willing to chip in for money so that we can get our players some pizza.
Oh yeah,
Something
definitely.
of that nature, it's no problem. I'll cover that.
Or like last time, there's that great Indian place that was 2 blocks up.
Oh yeah, it was.
All right, or no, Nepalese. Very close. Anyways, back on track. Forces can be chosen from any released book and must include boats and or ships, or as Garrett learned, ships possibly with a boat.
Yes.
Loaner forces again will be available with advanced knowledge. Please email us to sign up.
Keep your ships afloat, kids. They work better that way.
Yes,
I think Mike, we covered this in a previous episode, but I'm pretty sure Mike said that you were the first ship to get sunk in a tournament that he knew of.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh no. Wait,
I think we might have had one sunk at Adepticon. I'm not sure.
you came up to Fallen last year, right?
Fall in, yeah.
Okay, no, it was that new guy at the Historicon game was
Oh
the
yeah, I
first ship.
blew up his Tartana. Like I sank the crap out of that thing. I
Yeah.
didn't do it intentionally. It was like
Apparently Tartanas just sink.
it was a lucky hit that then like it caught fire and started leaking. And you'd feel like those two things would like cancel each other out, but I guess that's not how boats work. So like I
Unfortunately,
realize
the sailors know.
no, that's why I don't teach
Yeah.
physics. I know I teach history, but I should know better.
Because when the fire goes out from the leak, you're already underwater, so it doesn't
That's
really
fair.
help you that much.
That makes sense now, Garrett.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it now.
You burn to the ever increasing water line.
Just burn to the water line.
right.
You're all set. I can picture like me, the idiotic captain in a 17th century ship, being like, "Guys, it's cool. Just give it like an hour, and then we won't need to worry about it."
Guys, we're surrounded by water.
The solution is
It's
here.
fine. It's fine.
The problem is the solution.
I'm pretty sure I've sent this to Tom before, but for anybody who wants a good laugh and enjoys a bit of folksy sea song kind of stuff, look up the Longest John's "Hoist Up the Thingy."
Oh, I love that song. It's so
Yeah.
romantic. Beautiful.
But that's definitely Tom sailing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, email us to enlist in the sea battles. So again, 200 points, bring ships, possibly boats. It'll be 2-hour rounds, and we'll get through it as quickly as we can and crown a winner. And I'll be GMing for that one. Again, tournament packets will go out at prior to the tournament, but we will have them on site for people who forget and for walk-ups.
Be very interested to see what the meta is like for that tournament.
Me too. Now that we have plastic ships.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I wonder if sloops with swivels are going to be hot again, or if you're going to see more boats like you did last time.
I'm wondering if Fernando's going to bring that hulking beast of a galleon again.
Jason
does.
was at the top table at our tournament with a galleon with a bunch of swivels on it, and he and Nigel tied at the top table, like straight up tied, and that was why I was playing second table against, I think the guy's name was Mark, and that wound up, since they tied, it meant that the winner of our game was going to win the whole thing. So,
Oh wow.
but yeah, he had the galleon, and you can do well with it at 200 points.
You heard it here first. Bring your galleons, ladies and gentlemen.
Bring out your galleons.
Bring out your galleons, baby. So we're running stuff on Friday, but on Saturday, Rufus and Kai are taking over to run Blood and Valor on the 22nd of July. It starts at 10 a.m. It's 3 90-minute rounds. 200-point forces can be from the original Blood and Valor book or the new expansion book, End of Empires, which is out and available. The place to submit lists is listed in the PEL, but we'll give you the email. It is rkd1463@gmail.com. You're basically emailing Rufus directly, and he'll put you on the list. Your scenarios are going to be Conquest in round 1, Attrition in round 2, which is from End of Empires, and then Commander Kill in round 3, which is also from End of Empires. Those are the events we've got planned for now. We will give you another rundown when we record in June. And if we have any other updates, we'll let you know. We'll also give you a count of how many people got signed up. But if you listen to this podcast and you check out our Facebook page, we will busily be reminding you to sign up so we can get as full a posse of folks as we can. The other thing we'll mention, which I'll let Garrett take the lead on because I think he's probably submitted more stuff. Have you submitted stuff for the Summer of Plunder painting tournament or painting competition?
I need to. I finished 2 boats for Adepticon, but I've not submitted them yet. I've been working on miniatures, but I've not finished them quite yet. I've got to get for that outdoor game that I'm playing in St. Augustine. I've got to get some sailors painted up, so I'll probably submit those. But I actually haven't submitted all that much so far. But I got things to submit.
The most recent update on the painting contest actually came out today. There are 2 weeks left. So if I release this on schedule next Tuesday, as you listen to this, you will have a week left to submit stuff for the Great Pirate Paint-Off Contest. And for information about that, go to bloodandpigment.com. It should be pretty close to the top of the links. It'll give you instructions on how to submit. It'll tell you what they're looking for, and it'll give you an idea of what kind of prizes they're looking to give away. So it's a
And
great
there's
thing to
quite a
do if you're looking to get geared up for the summer when you get to play a bunch of games. And even if you're not somebody who gets to play very often, it's still cool to be able to show off stuff that you were going to paint anyway and get prizes for it. So we strongly recommend that you get yourself involved.
After that, once you're done the painting competition, get involved in Summer of Plunder, because we've seen some of the revamps that they're doing for this year. There's going to be a really awesome map. There's going to be a little more commander interaction. And honestly, it looks really cool. I don't know if I'll be able to participate as much as I would like to. Hence, one of the reasons I'm not a commander this year. But I would definitely suggest getting involved in that. And don't forget, you can play for multiple factions personally.
Yeah, you jump in for whoever you want.
So, contribute to every faction and you'll have a better chance of winning the grand prize.
Yeah, and be sure to contribute to Spain because we are going to win.
Spain.
But it is going to be awesome this year.
I'm just going to point out, I know very few competitive lists that don't have Dutch sailors in them.
Listen, my list that won Adepticon did not have Dutch sailors.
Were there other Dutchmen, non-sailor types?
Let me counter your question with another question. Isn't the Netherlands just part of Spain? I mean, weren't you part of Spain until around the 1640s?
I mean,
for a time.
The delusional Spanish royalty seems to think so.
Listen, those creepy inbred people with 3 chins knew what they were doing. And if only they could have ruled the Netherlands forever, but they couldn't, because they're incompetent, corrupt, and blindingly stupid. But if it weren't for those 3 things, they would have been able to rule over Europe forever.
And by the way, if anybody wants a really good in-depth history of all of that, I'd highly recommend checking out the Pirate History podcast, where that gentleman goes into a lot of depth about how Holland broke away from Spain and how all of that had to do with the Age of Piracy, or the Golden Age of Buccaneering.
Oh, you get a kick out of this, Glenn. I added a bunch of Benderson Little's books to my AP summer reading list. And several kids have already asked me, like, why are there so many books about pirates on here? And I'm like, if that's your biggest complaint, this course is going to be difficult for you.
Your response should simply be, because the modern nations of the world were built upon it.
Built on piracy, baby.
Seriously, that is something I didn't realize until I listened to that podcast, is like, and read a couple other books as well. But like, everybody knows England has a strong naval tradition, especially after the Napoleonic Wars. But what I never realized is that entire naval tradition rests on piracy and privateering.
Yeah. It was cheap. It was cheap for them.
Yeah, I've downloaded that podcast, but I haven't listened to it yet. So you've inspired me to start listening to it on the way to work.
And like, what was it? Queen Elizabeth that sent out Drake?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where she's apologizing
Not the second, the
Spain for these
first.
horrible English pirates with her right hand, and her left hand is behind her back, taking all the money from Francis Drake that he just stole from the Spanish.
That's a girl boss. And on that note, I think we can call it, because it's a school night and I got to get sucker edited. But Garret Swader, thank you for joining us. Thank you for running all the stuff you did at Adepticon, and I hope to get to play in something that you organize.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go next year.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
I hope you guys come next year, and I hope it's bigger and better next year. And it was my pleasure. And I'll do this any other time you want me to.
We do intend to get back to a regular recording and broadcasting schedule, now that hopefully life is done throwing curveballs at us.
Oh, and remember the paint nights as well.
Oh yes, Garrett always does remind me about paint nights. The one, we never did get the European paint night organized last month because a bunch of stuff happened. but we will eventually get that figured out.
Once the AP is over, I can start running these on a regular basis. Like in June, July, and August, I'll try to run 3 of them, where I'll do it in the middle of the day so that anybody can do it. I'll give Martin plenty of notice because I promised him we'd get this set up, and it will. And I'd like it to be something that happens more than once because they're fun to talk to and they have interesting stuff that they get to do. They're living in the place it all started, so it's fun to bug them.
And if I'm off on Fridays right now, so if I can shake loose the kids,
it's a big if, Glenn.
Paint, I could hopefully join, but yeah. All right, well, everybody, thank you again for listening. Sorry again that it has been for so long without getting to talk to you all. We've been very busy with our personal lives and have had a lot of stuff going on, but we're glad to be back, and we look forward to seeing you again next month, and then hopefully seeing all of your smiling faces in person at Historicon the month after that. In the meantime, we'll see you all at Paint Night.
Thanks so much for joining the show tonight. Remember to follow us on Twitter at No Dice, No Glory, and keep the conversation going on NoDiceNoGlory.com, now featuring our own message boards. Have a great night, everybody.